Hey everybody, we're back and we're still working on the key of C minor. And in order for me to have you looking at the keyboard correctly, so you can see everything, you're not able to look at me. So I lean over every week and say hello, and that's about it. But if you check in with the videos that I'm playing on a little bit more, if you check in the last song that I did on the last lesson, My Baby's a Whining, you get to check me out a little more. Anywho, we're going to do a little more harmonics today, and it's going to be really different than anything we've done before. But I want your ears, your inner soul, everything about your body to get in tune with your fingers and get in tune with the sounds that you're hearing. Let me say hello, and we'll get started. Okay, now, going through the keys again. We have C minor. We have D diminished. We have E flat. We have F minor. We have G minor. A flat and B flat. And those are all the keys that are in that key of C minor. Now, remember when we're doing our counting, remember we do that in our head now, you know that. So C is here. So the simplicity of all this is that what we're looking at is the same thing, except we're just minoring it. Okay, and when the difference goes into effect is that this third is a section down. So it would get more confusing to remember all this stuff going up. So it's easier to just read the chart at this time, which is, I've got it up here. And so we'll be doing that from now on, but don't forget the chords, because without this chart, you're going to be able to sit down and play without referring to the chart. You follow what I mean? Just have to remember that. Okay, now, we have, as we did in the first part of this whole lesson thing, is all these notes. So we take the C minor chord. I hit all those. It doesn't sound too bad. See, it all depends on what we're doing with our bass. See? You see what I'm saying? It all depends on what we're doing with our bass. But we are in a C minor. See, in other words, I'm C, and I went up to the D, diminished. But what I want you to do for this week is simply what you saw me do, which sounds crazy. I'm playing the C minor, some kind of a rhythm. However you want to play it. I don't know if you saw down that low, but all I was doing was this. In other words, you're playing the left hand, which is going to be your bass and your harmonic accompaniment to whatever you're doing up here. So you can play a lot of harmonics. And if you listen to what I was doing the other day, but I made it sound pretty good because I was using, I don't know how I did that, but what I did was, when you get to a point where you're into what you're doing and you don't understand what you're doing, but you don't give a damn, you're just into what you're doing, you'll be amazed, okay? And I remember back when I would take little kids and set them down in front of their parents. I'd try to sell them a piano or an organ, and I'd set them down and have them play a note. And I'd play 10 notes on top of that. And then they'd play another note, play another 10 notes. And the kid would get all excited. And the fact is that he was interested. The kids that aren't interested don't do that. They don't get excited. They just sit there and their eyes are open and they watch you. So you get a chance to see who's interested and who isn't. And I sold a lot of pianos around that, and most of them succeeded. It's amazing stuff, this music thing we got. Okay, so back here. Okay, out of that you kind of figured out what was the discord and what wasn't. So if you're playing, you can use those same harmonics you heard a minute ago, but you're playing them differently in relation to what you're doing down here, if you follow what I mean. In other words, you're doing quick, long, short, quick stops between different harmonics. But what I want you to learn this week is the simple, not so good, and the wonderful ones. So in order to do that, pick up a beat down here, or something just feels good to you. Okay, and for all the chords that are in this key, and you start picking up on those harmonics, so you can actually really get busy doing something. So you start getting a feel for just gooping around. Just hit things that don't matter what they are. And when you hear them, you know it's right or wrong, and it'll set feelings to you. Like, you know, Some of it sounds good, some of it doesn't. But if you play all the time with just regular stuff, like a C chord, now you notice how that all blended in? There's no weird harmonies. See, you start picking up on what you can throw in there just for the heck of it, see? In other words, you just get kind of goofy. But really it's not, when you think about it. Because you hear when people are playing classical music, what are they doing? They do all kinds of stuff, because they're playing the discord with the chord, and you're probably getting where I'm going, but that's just how it works. But in other words, I want you to get used to doing. Now, if you're going up the scale, watch my fingering. You can do something like that if you want to, but it's easier to do it like this. Okay, and at that point, you just throw under. But it all depends where your white and your blacks are. In other words, remember I talked about when we were sight reading music? Say you're playing here. Say you're playing right there with that. So your eyes are over here already. So you already know what's going to happen, but you don't. In other words, in harmonic sounds, you know what's going to happen down the road. So without planning it, you actually do it. So in other words, say you're playing in C minor. Okay, I threw in a discord there. But it went into it, see? It went with it, if you follow what I'm getting at. Okay, so you can really get into doing stuff like, remember I mentioned the Beatles at one time? Okay, they had a lot of that going on, and they didn't even know what it was. They just knew it sounded good, and they played those harmonics. And then it took, I think it was John, who was the literate in actually reading music and developing that. But when they first started, they didn't know anything about writing or anything about that. So you really, truly don't need to, but it all depends where you want to go. I want you to practice that. And you'll pick up that you'll start playing down here in between those discord harmonics so that they add in more. You notice what I started doing there, see? You'll start picking up on different things, and you'll realize that now you're going to start playing things down here with your left hand more that take you into it, like and you'll just start adding those things together. But see, you've got to learn everything that you hear on the keyboard. Every single note has its tone. So you get all kinds of those different kind of things going on, and that's basically what I was doing when I was playing My Baby's a Whining, but I was doing it with different sounds, and it's just like when you hear a sound, it will inspire you. In other words, like if you hear this, okay, it sounds kind of dead, kind of goofy, but if you combine other things with it. And you'll start adding those harmonics together automatically without a thought. So it just sounds crazy when you start, but I need you to learn all of these harmonics and all of the parts of that C minor chord. And then go out this way.